playing show. Shut
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We're live on a Friday. I appreciate you joining us on a Sunday. Doug's got a baptism he's got to go to, so we can't do it on a Sunday. And Will's got Mount Union to cheer for. It's a big weekend. So we have a lot to unpack in today's episode, reviewing this last week of football. And kicking it off, we've got a lot of piecemeal things because the heartbeat, I think the solid meat of today's episode is going to be reviewing the big hit with Trevor Lawrence. And if you're not privy to it, we're gonna unpack it totally. But first, let's just briefly, across football, it being Thanksgiving last week, there was a lot that occurred. And I think one great one, well, first, I don't know if you guys saw the terrible news. This was like a heartbreak wake felt across the league. The Chiefs, who are like leading the champion to the Super Bowl, they lost one of like their greatest players on the roster. This is a big hit for them.
I am a better player.
Oh no, that's not
around the 34-yard line, and we bumps into a member of the Bucs.
Yeah, that's Vi Jones.
And
You know what? I will give the Chiefs
zebra down.
I will give the Chiefs some credit. They've drafted a lot of depth at that position. I think they'll. Yeah, and you know what they say? Speedy recovery to him. I know it's not going to be an easy one, but next man up. Next man up.
Next man up. Somebody's got to carry Patrick Mahomes. Somebody's got to tell Patrick Mahomes when a defender's coming.
Someone's got to tell Patrick Mahomes when to slide.
Ooh, well, we'll get to that. Next, I don't know if you saw, this was a heartbreaking week for all of us in Ohio. And if you weren't aware, we got walloped by the evil team up north because our coach is terrible.
Oh, my God. I forgot that was last week.
Yeah. We're still there.
Holy shit. This week felt like a fever dream now.
Yeah. And it ended in quite a debacle. Somebody taking notes out of Baker's book and planting the flag on the OSU at the center of 50-yard line. And somebody asked Baker in a press conference what he thinks about starting the trend, because Ohio State wasn't the only one. Now, while a giant brawl took place following it, there was a lot of teams across the league that did this.
I'm pretty sure every away team that won their final game, like in the rivalry week game, planted a flag.
they did.
Yeah. In other years, you might have like a team or two do it. I've never seen that many teams on a single day plant something midfield.
Well, dude, and every single one ended up in some sort of fight or argument or like scuffle, like not as big as Ohio State were all of them, but every single rivalry they did that. And it's crazy that it started that.
Well, at the Ohio State, we like to set the bar high. So, that's all I'll say.
No one could beat us in a brawl.
That's right. So here's Baker's comments after being questioned on it.
Many kind of consider you the OG when it comes to flag planting. What was your reaction to a lot of the flag planting we saw yesterday, and I guess maybe some of the pushback to that flag planting yesterday?
There were like 4, weren't there?
You know what? I'll say this: that OU Texas does it every time they play. It's not anything special. You take your L and you move on. College football is meant to have rivalries. It's like the Big 12 banning the horns down signal. Just let the boys play.
I love that. Let the boys play. And I think the bigger takeaway is take your L. Like,
I just love his reaction. Like, it's just like, he was like, I hope no one brings it up right away. Jesus Christ. Like, I'm going to be answering this question every year now for the rest of my career, because this isn't stopping. Why would this stop now? How do you, like, if you're a university, how do you prevent that? You know what I mean?
You find a coach that's going to go, hey, guys, we're going to be sportsmanlike and not plant the flag. And if you do, you're off my team. Boom.
Well,
that's how
you're never going to be off the
never gonna
team
be off
because
the
there's
team.
all these legalities about money and everything else.
still,
They'll just
Coach-
run gassers on Monday and they'll live with it.
The coach just needs to take a stand.
But the sad part is that is no longer allowed to be an element of the game. Like, coaches are being crippled with the ability to truly build character in their kids. Like that's what we grew up with it being called. But now in this hypersensitive world, we have to be coaches have to be worried about a kid that runs gassers too much for his mom to go to the athletic director. So with all that being said, Baker going, take the L. this happens. This is a part of the game.
Mhm.
Like, I respect there's such high emotions in this game. You got embarrassed in your home, and not all of it is your fault, but there's no one else to point to but you. I mean, it's the coach, it's all these other elements, but it's a team effort. Take the L. That's what it is. It's not a justification for you to be, an unchained animal and go crazy and start a brawl in the middle of the stadium. So one of the things that are appreciative is this scene where everybody is brawling on the 50-yard line. There's just this small pocket of players just praying. Whereas on the other side of the wall, those players, there's just like a brawl.
You know what's funny? I never saw that part of it. I've only seen the brawl. So
Well, it's
clearly-
weird what made the news.
Yeah. It's almost like that's how things work. But, like you guys all hammered home multiple times. That's become a trend of the game. Baker even pointed out, like, some teams, they do that on every game.
Yeah.
So this isn't a justification for that type of behavior. And to me, it speaks to kind of the lack of management. And, like, do you think that happens with Urban as coach? Well, first, we're not getting we're not getting walloped like that.
It did. I mean, Baker planted it.
And was there a war on?
No,
the
there
50
wasn't a
Yeah,
war.
okay,
I thought you meant
that's
just
my
the flag.
greater point.
I thought you meant the flag planting. No, there wasn't a brawl. There wasn't a brawl.
And there wouldn't be, because to me, it's an element to structure and authority in that locker room. We don't have it. There's no respect for this guy. I mean,
I'm curious what the conversation is going to be. Like, at some point, Ryan Day will no longer be the Ohio State coach. It might be at the end of this year. It might be, who knows? I have my own personal timetable when I would have liked it to be, but we don't know when it will be. And I'm curious what the conversation by former players is going to be like afterwards. I don't see it being too like defamatory against him, but like, you will have people kind of bring it up and like they will allude to that fact. I did read about there was one former player, I can't think of him, but he tweeted about it afterwards, like after the brawl. It was later that evening or maybe the following day, tweeted something about Ryan Day talking about, like, I think it was like a Big Ten championship game or something a few years ago. It was like halftime. And he never said anything to the players, but like they could hear him like in the coach's room, like their, I guess office, yelling and putting blame on every one of the other coaches. He's like, he never said a word to us once at halftime. And I was like, that is so bizarre. How do you not speak to the guys on the field at halftime? Like, if you want to dig into your coaches, like at the same time, you could do both at halftime.
yes, right.
But the fact you don't talk to the kids on the field, super weird. Like,
And again, that goes to show where the focus is totally misdirected. Like, you're casting blame and your focus is what? Coaching staff? Listen, man, by the championship, playbook is developed. Everybody knows their roles. How much more yelling can you do at coaches to achieve it? The most effective you could be with this time at halftime at the biggest game in this season is, like you said, your whole entire focus should be the kids. Like, you need to motivate. And like I said, the playbook's written. Now execute it at the highest level.
well, it's like if you want to yell at your coaches about like game time mid adjustments, I understand that. Like, that's what halftime is for. It's kind of regroup, rally, make some adjustments. Here's the thing. I won't even say necessarily you have to do a ton of motivation. These boys are already on the field. They've already been motivated to play. Hey, we saw the first half. Let's switch some things up here. The run game's looking well, but we got to be blocking down more. We got to be kicking out. Defense, play man up, tighten up the cushion, not play off the ball. We're going to get away from the zone. That's what, like, I would like to hear. And like a tweet be like, hey, you know what? This is a bad day for the program. But, Ryan Day, he does care about the kids. He is always trying to coach us up and get us better. You can see it from this game. I didn't watch it. I was at the Mount Union game. It was a much better game.
Yeah.
But I heard from a lot of people how apparently Will Howard threw like an interception right at the start of the game. And then they just got away from the passing game the rest of the game. And it's like, we're Ohio State. We're not a power team. Like, we're built off our skill players, our outside guys, our receivers. We call us wide receiver U, and you're not going to air the ball out more against a Michigan team that hasn't been as good as recent years. I don't know. I don't know how good of a game day coach he is. Urban Meyer would lose to like Virginia Tech's, Iowa's, Illinois, like in a random game in like October or November. When it came to game day adjustments, very good, like very polished coach at it. I don't know if Ryan Day's good at that.
Well,
In fact, I don't think he's good at that. I think his record against top 10 teams has shown that, like, same level of competition. You have the same type of 5-star players that they have. I don't think you're a good game time adjusting coach. Be a good game day coach.
Right. No, and again, we're seeing it because you have a roster that could carry you there.
And
you're
let
not
alone
delivering.
just handling your boys fighting midfield. Like that is another level of discipline that if I don't think you could do it like just on the game day, how can I respect you when the kids are going to go? And I don't blame the kids for getting to a fight. These are passionate kids. You know, the emotions are high. Those seniors never beat Michigan. I can imagine the emotions. Actually, no, I couldn't imagine the emotions that they were going through. But for them to be like, no, this is still our field. Don't do that. Again, like Baker, take your L, walk away. That's the mature, responsible thing to do. In the moment, I'm not there. Like, you know, I'm not the one in that moment. So
Right.
I'm not saying what they did is right, but I could sit back and be like, I get it. But like you as a coach, you might not have the video, but there was a video of Ryan Day, like just stand like as those kids were praying. He must have been on the other side of the brawl, just kind of like, he looks so out of it. It's like, dude, get in there. These are your guys fighting.
Right.
I'm not saying fight with them. I'm saying like, get in
Break it
between,
up.
break up the fight.
I think he was sitting there contemplating his career. Like, I think I just lost my job at the end of the year. He was probably like just shocked that his team that was supposed to win lost. I think that's what it was.
I agree with you, Doug, but like, again, snap out of it. This is
You're not allowed to get lost in that thought.
listen, it's not just Ohio State. It is the Ohio State. They will let you know that. There is a certain pedigree that
They
university has,
trademarked
and
that.
they just buried it at the end there. It's like, like any criticism towards the Ohio State right now, I think is pretty
Justified.
valid. It's
Yeah.
justified. And I'm an Ohio, I've grown up, I've loved Ohio State my whole life, but you know,
Dude, this is the potential of the drawing of a dynasty
yes.
because there's so many other strong potentials
Mhm.
across college football right now.
Mhm.
Like if you go back to 2005 Ohio State, man, it was Ohio State or nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else was second. Then Alabama comes in. Then the rest of that whole conference, LSU. I mean, there's Georgia. Look at how many other high potential schools are taking. And again, we were the place to be. Now we're one of the places to be.
Well, especially in the Big Ten, we were the place to be for especially during
here's the
the
truth.
Tressel and Urban era.
Like something my dad will never be happy to admit, and a reality that most try to ignore is we still are the top of the peak when it comes to the Big Ten. Oregon, yes. Michigan, yes. They're up front, but we're the top of the heap. The Big Ten is falling off. That's a major bummer to this whole reality.
And the big reason is Ohio State.
Bingo.
That's the biggest reason.
Yep.
Funny
And-
enough, Oregon just joined the Big Ten, and they are carrying it right now.
They're
I would love
number
to see
one.
Penn State win. Personally, I'd love to see Penn State win.
We have to at this point.
I don't.
True blood.
I don't see them winning, but it would be nice to see because Penn State joined the Big Ten like over a decade ago, and they may have won the Big Ten once. Maybe in one of those years when Urban got in trouble and we weren't able to play for it, they might have won it then. But like Oregon, their first year coming in, and I truly think this is the best Oregon team since the Mariota years. Like that Dylan Gabriel, he is a good quarterback for them. But and again, kudos to what you said. It's Ohio State. We're still going to get the recruiting. We're still going to get the players. At the end of the day, Ryan, what are you going to do? Now, personally, I don't think he's going to be here next year.
Right.
But for like the next guy, it's like Ohio State's going to be top 5 in recruiting.
Well, and again, you and I have had this conversation. He likely will lose his job.
Mhm.
The only thing that saves it at this point is the 1 in a million magical chance he wins the championship. I don't even think going to the championship saves him. I
Going
think
doesn't get him.
You have to go and win the championship. And again, it'll be amazing to watch the postseason in college football this year with the increase in teams in the playoffs.
Mhm.
But that just means, Ryan Day, that makes this fantastical dream that much harder to achieve.
And you know what? And I'm with you. I don't see it happening. But if he does, I will gladly come on this show and be like, give him another year. Like, prove me wrong. Like, at the end of the day, he still won a championship. Still got to beat
Bingo.
Michigan. Then next year, I look at him and be like, beat Michigan.
Yeah.
Beat Michigan and prove me you can do that. Because you prove me you can win a championship. And at Ohio State, I don't know how you did one without the other. You know what I mean? Like, it's like Urban 7 or 8-0 against Michigan, won a championship. I don't know how you can win a championship at Ohio State, which evidently now you can. There's a possibility. I don't see it happening, but if you do, you'd be the first to do it. I'd be like, that crazy son of a bitch did it.
That son
Can't
of a
beat
bitch on
Michigan,
in.
but goddamn, you won a championship.
Pay this guy.
No. Don't be like extend them after. If they did, could you imagine the out?
Oh, no,
would-
don't extend him. Just give him one more chance.
I'm just saying he wins the championship after losing to Michigan again, and they
10
extend
more years.
4 more years. Dude, I would be on Twitter like just with a bag of popcorn going like, this is great. This is great.
Watching
They hate
it
him.
crumble.
They hate him and he won a championship. Like that would be the biggest, weirdest
Just-
day on Twitter.
Just picturing the athletic director just with like a whiskey glass, like,
What do I do? Dude. He has Ryan across the table from him right after he won the championship, immediately coming to my office. He's got a glass of whiskey there and like a Glock right next to him. Like, all right, Ryan, what's it going to be? He's going to beat Michigan next year? As he's just like, we're still celebrating. No. I'm just saying, are you going to be Michigan next year? Because you don't walk out of this room if you answer one way. I'm just saying.
the strongest comment I think you had was, I don't see how you accomplish one without the other. I don't know how you're a champion and lost to a non-competitive Michigan.
Not ranked.
A not ranked Michigan. Right.
Completely non-competitive, not ranked Michigan. Like the last few years, like last year you lost to Michigan, they won the championship. It's like you were the number 1 and number 2 team. They beat you by 6 you had a chance to win it at the end. This was like unforgivable. Like this is I'm telling you, if you haven't seen that video, just find that video of Ryan Day on the field afterwards. He looks like Doug said, just like everyone's fighting. It's like a great like battle from like the 17th century with swords and shit. And he's just like the king on the sideline going, the reinforcement showed up. I've lost. Like it's just, it is so funny, man. I've never seen him, and he's a smug guy. I don't necessarily like his like demeanor, but that was the most like I've just seen like a child going like, it's over. The crown. I lost the crown. I have to win it all now to keep my crown. Like it was so funny.
Poetic.
It was so poetic. That's a good word for it. Hey, sports are romantic.
That's right.
They're romantic, man.
So pivoting before we dive into the NFL where we have a lot, Will's getting excited for some more college football coming up.
Mhm.
There's high school championship football coming up this week.
Oh, they're
And-
gearing up right now.
Right.
Half
So
hour. There's 2 games already today. I bet.
and again, so it makes it such an exciting period. The season's wrapping up. Things are getting competitive. And here's a really funny clip from a high school football game just this past week. There were so many flags. This was the kickoff. It was a field goal.
What?
Get Will's face.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
What game was this? Was this a local game or like?
No,
just
this
in-
was, I believe it was in Texas.
How do you get that many flags on a kickoff?
I want to know what the penalties were.
Yeah.
What were they? Just like continuous offsides. You know how many times you got to go offsides on a kickoff to get that close to kick a field goal?
Apparently it was like all stacked, penalties, like all different penalties.
They
I'm
could have
sure-
been penalties from like the previous like play or something that got added on to their kick. Because you got to remember, too,
Right.
high school already starts way more up than every other sport when it comes to kickoff. Like, they're going to be the first to just get rid of kickoffs altogether out of any level. So,
I already
but
think they're
still.
working towards that. I do. I think they're working towards that.
Oh,
Really?
of course they
Yeah,
are.
I think they are.
You would think that'd be the only
I
league
actually
that has it.
Well,
wanna
remember-
say next year, or the year after, they're supposed to get rid of kickoff.
Well, remember in middle school, guys, when we would start, they would just put the ball at the 25-yard line. We didn't even have kickoffs.
I don't
in
blame
middle
that
school.
though. Like it's
I
kids,
wouldn't
can't
be
imagine
surprised
you
if
kick
that's
the
how
ball that
the
far.
high
He
school
had
goes.
kickoff?
No, we did. Not in middle school.
Not middle school.
Okay, yeah, sure. I would
Not
thought
middle
about
school.
high
No,
school.
no, in high school. In high
No,
school.
but I'm saying that's how I think it's going to go. Is in middle school they just put the ball at the 25 and you started the game there after every score or whatever.
That'd
Well, you gotta
be
think, you
so
gotta-
lame.
Well, you got to think, how far could a kid kick it? You know, at that age. In high school, sure. And I remember, like, hell, I remember our freshman year of football. Like, we'd kick the ball like 30 yards. Half the time, like the middle row would catch it. It wouldn't even be the back row. You know,
Right.
it wasn't usually until like junior
That
varsity,
is
varsity.
true.
That's what I mean. It's like at that level, we're still kids. I can't imagine like unless some kids got a leg. You know,
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
We're
but
still
with-
kids. That's why it's not that dangerous.
Yeah, but with
It's not
all
like
this,
a professional
we're
with perfect
bendable.
technique. Yeah,
we're
and
still
we're,
bendable.
we're rubber, man. We bounce right off each other.
but do you really think a school wants to take that risk of having all their
it
students
is
get
a
all these
contact
concussions?
sport funded and coordinated by the school, Doug.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think in middle school, I don't mind no kickoff but I mean, once you hit freshman year, it's like, yeah, no, you're getting ready for junior varsity.
Right.
I'm fine with that.
I mean, I agree. I love the kickoff. I'm just saying I will not be surprised if eventually high school is just setting the ball.
I think that it's already in discussion. I'm not even joking.
I'm sure
So
it
lame.
is.
So pivoting into the NFL, you know,
Can you wait? Can you imagine an NFL game with that many penalties? Dude, they would drill someone like in the third story. Dude.
It would just go right through the
I'm
net.
just
He's
saying.
literally like an NFL kicker is kicking from the 15-yard line into the.
Dude, you could see his pupils. He's kicking right at us. Like that would be awesome.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. So Lamar, you know, didn't have the greatest performance, still had a strong game, but his mom, of all the critics,
I know his mom.
was not pleased at all with his performance.
Back, you feel like there were some opportunities to run today for you that you may have passed up?
Yeah, my mama just told me that. she just cussed me out. So like I'm mad. So like we gonna get after it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. We gonna get after it. I can't wait till this ball get on. Like we got the Giants coming up. I'm ready to go. Like I'm just ready to go, man.
Funny enough,
She said it was lanes I should have took and ran, but you know I was just trying to let guys develop routes. We had developing routes. I was just trying to go through my progression. But yeah, she right. I'm gonna do my like. I'm sorry for this. I'm just mad because I feel like we should win these games and we not getting them done.
Yeah, he shouldn't be losing the Browns. I agree.
one
enough.
thing, I love Lamar. I love Lamar
Yes.
as just a person, but also like a character. Like he kind of is like a Jameis character in his own right. Two, fun. Just listening to him talk about that too. It's like he and Josh Allen both are running the ball less this year, simply because both of them actually have a competent running back, like a competent
Right?
running
Yes,
game. So
they
like
don't
they're
need
not
to.
exactly. They don't need to. But that was a game too. I was watching it where I was like, Lamar, run. Like when you're scrambling, run more. Like you have that elusiveness to you. But I mean. Hell, they're still 8-5. It's Baltimore. I mean, I would not feel comfortable playing Baltimore, regardless what my record is.
It's a dominant team.
So that's
So
pretty funny, though.
Oh, I love that.
I especially know his mom. I'm pretty sure is still his agent. So like, it's
hey,
like,
that's how you build greatness.
yeah.
Accept nothing less. So one last big story before we get into the crux of the episode being the Trevor Lawrence hit. But we were hyping it up the last week, preparing on Sunday, going into the long day of great games. The evening game being one of the funnest snowballs I think we're going to get all season in Buffalo, which you can always rely on from Buffalo. You know, part of our major conversation, and we'll get there, but part of the major conversation was how we want to build a stadium, and the stadium's going to keep us from the elements, and our elements are nothing like New York, and they live for it. So here's the fans preparing for one. I got a couple of them. The fans preparing for the heck of a game. I mean, imagine getting to your seat and you have to like dig yourself out.
Just falling.
The level of commitment. So here's probably the best seat in the house.
this. It does not get better than this. This is perfect.
They've got their own little mini cooler there. I love it.
That is so sick.
Right? Beer shelf, keeping it cool.
Dude, I'm just saying, man. Like, don't build a dome just for like moments like this.
Well, so
Build a dome.
I appreciate you bringing that up because one of the things they announced following that game was the renderings for their new stadium. I mean, look at that thing. Gorgeous. And they're going out of their way to preserve the outdoors, the elements. No indoor stadium.
You know, it's a smart thing too. It's like not all the seating won't have snow on it, but enough will.
Yeah.
You know, like I could see, you know, the benefits. You know, and snow sometimes comes down sideways, but that's okay. I don't mind. Like
they want it to come down
I love
sideways.
the idea
They're
of
not
going.
trying to.
Do you know how funny it would be? Like how awesome it would be to go to a Browns game and like you could put beer right in snow and be like, it's comfy.
What do you mean? That's what I did. That was me at the Thursday night game. It wasn't that snowy, but it was cold enough. I just had my beer never got warm. It was great.
I gotta be real with you. I don't know how much I really want an ice cold beer when I myself am ice cold. But I feel you. I hear you. Just not my cup of tea.
Oh,
dude,
man.
I think
Hot tea.
Do you think they have
everyone-
like hot cider there?
Oh, I bet they have hot cocoa.
they were selling cocoa.
See,
Gotta have your cocoa.
gotta have your cocoa. But
Well, hey, God, real quick, like I think the conversation would end immediately on this new stadium if it had like a retractable roof option. Whatever
No,
happened to that crap,
Doug,
man?
we keep telling you
I
there's
think that
no
would
purpose of a
settle it.
retractable
That would
roof
settle it.
because they're never going to open the roof during the snow.
Doesn't
That's like a whole
They will
insurance
for
thing in and of
football,
itself.
but for a concert, then they have it closed.
doesn't one?
No.
I
That's
may
not how
be
that
wrong, I
works.
may be wrong on this because just I know like once or twice a year, the Cowboys stadium has like a piece of the roof fall off, and I'm not sure. I don't think that's retractable. There's no way it can with that like monitor in the center. Like, there's no way that can be
Yeah, no, it's
retractable.
not. That is a permanent roof.
Maybe it should be retractable because the roof might not fall off. Like every year, like a giant chunk like falls, and it happens to be like on a game day. Yeah, it
Is it
happened.
hitting people?
No, not yet.
Not
But
yet.
like a few
Jerry
weeks
Jones
ago,
is
it
gonna-
landed like 15 feet from someone. They're like, whoa. And then they
Some-
were like, all right, well, the game will start 20 minutes later. I'll be like, yeah, that's all good.
What are they planning on doing in 20 minutes? You're not fixing the roof.
Well, I'm sure they send some poor bastard up there and he just like put some duct
Send
tape.
Foster.
Send him up there.
But that's not the only impressive fan from the game.
Where's that dude who won that jacket from Nate Burleson? I wonder if he's at
He
the
was
game.
probably
He was probably wearing it at the game.
yes. But here's the favorite.
Oh my God, that's a kid too. I just thought it was some fat guy.
San Francisco fan. It's just some like 8-year-old kid. Never been in snow. It's hot in California.
Dude, he's already got a beer gut. That's a kid with a beer gut, just living it.
That
living
is
that
his-
life.
This is his life.
That's
This
him.
will be football.
Dude, he's
Football.
got to. Oh my God. Since Buffalo's gonna not have a dome ever, he needs to go back to Buffalo versus San Francisco at a snow game 30 years from now and recreate that photo.
My
It'll look
parents
the
would
exact
never.
same. Just a bigger gut.
My mom would have never let me go to a game or without a shirt. And then if she ever found out my dad let me take off my shirt and stand like that, oh my God, there would have been hell to pay. She'd been like, you let him go shirtless at a game. But I would have, that's balls to that kid. Love it.
See, I'm just like looking at it like as my own self. Like I would never do that to begin with, and
That's what I mean.
I'm a grown man.
As a
and
kid,
never
I
do
would have
that.
wanted
Like,
to.
like, a child, like start him. Hey, start him young.
That's right.
Start him
That's
young.
right.
If you're gonna live that life, might as well do it when you're 12.
Committed to the culture, man. Committed to the culture.
That's a kid from San Francisco than He's definitely from Buffalo. He's just a San Francisco fan.
Yes. But speaking of, the wildness of that game, look at this hyper speed view of them preparing the stadium.
Oh, dude, they are great.
Like,
They really are.
so effective. And yet they got that stadium floor perfect. Seats, fuck them. They'll figure it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, don't ever think you matter in the stadium.
Well,
We're here
that's-
to play a football game, man.
That's what the fans are for. Don't they like offer tickets to fans to come in and like help shovel out the stadium? Isn't that a thing they do there?
Hell, that's a
They
good
don't pay
incentive.
you. They don't pay you. They don't do anything beyond.
Dude, if my payment is I
come
got to
do your
clean
duty.
out a row and I get a free ticket to the game, shit, why not?
Yeah, right.
I'm already here.
No, you're not getting a free ticket. Nobody
used to
They're
do
not
that.
paying anybody. They never did that. It is the commitment of Buffalo Bills fans is, I will do it if you let me watch my team.
I just love it's. If you ever are a fan, you're like, no, we matter. That's why we need this. Just show them that video and be like, notice what they didn't clean, where the peons sit.
Yes.
Because we have to put these people on television.
Yes.
Not you. We'll put the fat ones without their shirt on TV, though. Well, we will find all of them.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I was listening to Mike Rowe, the guy that does like
yeah,
dirty
yeah.
jobs. He was on Joe Rogan and he was talking about, everybody talks about this same narrative, but with beaches, but I never heard it with baseball stadiums. Look at a baseball stadium in 1960, 1970, and look at a baseball stadium now. He goes, you would not find a fat person at a baseball stadium in 1970, but try not to find the fat person at a baseball stadium today. And it's like, whoa.
Well, wasn't
That's crazy.
everybody skinnier back then too?
Yeah, because everyone
Is that not what I just said?
Yeah,
Am I missing something?
everyone was smoking cigarettes, like chain smoking.
Whoa, hang on. We do not condone smoking on this show.
No,
Let's
we're
just
not.
get
I'm
that
just
out there,
saying, like,
guys.
Yes. And furthermore, back then, chain smoking it wasn't that. It was no Big Macs.
Yeah.
And
That's what it was. man.
Genetically modified chickens to increase chicken breasts.
Yeah.
It's just that's where we're at. Give him his Frosted Flakes in the morning. That's
Nothing like sugary.
that's your
flakes.
football beer belly. Anyway,
Give them their Frosted Flakes in the morning.
speaking of controversial plays, before we get into the Trevor Lawrence thing, one last play from that Buffalo Bills game. Everybody's all upset. Should this really be legal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's always been legal.
I'm honestly shocked that never happened to Palomalu more.
Yeah.
It did though.
I know it did,
though,
but
but not often at all. I think more than anything because he scared people.
Well, technically, like any hair, jewelry, their
Yeah. Oh,
towels,
yeah.
you're all able to grab that stuff because that's additional stuff.
And in that
like-
receiver's defense, I guarantee you he didn't know he was grabbing his hair. He was probably like trying to reach around, kind of grab to get around, just grab the hair, and all of a sudden he was like,
You know what though? It looks pretty intentional, dude.
yeah, it does. Look at that.
just a little.
I think he saw long ass hair and was like, hey. He turns around like, what, dude? I think it looks a little intentional.
It's like the most harmful intentional way. Like in his head he's like, hey, he's not making a play.
Yeah.
Like that's all it was for. It wasn't to hurt him. It was just lean this way.
Yep.
Ball's going that
You're
way.
out.
Lean this way.
Perfect. So should that be a legal block? Well, it's in the rules. And
Illegal block. I don't think that was anything. I think that was the elements.
the elements. All right. So the Trevor Lawrence thing has been quite the talk of the town. But here's the play itself so we can get kind of a base.
And so many special people.
No, there's no doubt that Trevor represents them well.
Dude, it was such an off slide too. Like it was such like a and I'm down. Boom.
Oh, man. But it turns into quite the brawl. That's the craziest part of it all.
It doesn't help that it happened like in the brawl sense that it happened right in front of Jacksonville.
It also doesn't
Jacksonville
help that
sideline. It wasn't like on the opposite side of the field. It was like right in front of all of them.
it also doesn't
And
help
the
that
bench
his own
clears.
It also doesn't help his own teammates literally walk over him to start this fight too. God forbid they help the guy that's passed out. Like what I always notice. They walk over him.
Yeah, here's what's crazy. And there were tons of clips of it. While this was going on, here, maybe we could get a clip of it kind of like over in here.
Earlier on.
Right. Yeah, you're right. While it's going on, he is still on the ground and they're fighting over him.
Oh,
And
he
then,
didn't
like,
even
a
know the
ref
fight
and a
happened.
coach.
That's how knocked out he was. Like he had no idea anything happened.
Well,
That's
and then
terrifying.
luckily, like some coach kind of walks up there and kind of stands there trying to like block him because he's passed out cold and these people are just rushing over.
He did the complete Tua like body spasm. like
Ugh.
after the hit.
Very ugly looking, but what a scene. It develops into quite a scene. As he was leaving, so Al-Shaair.
I'm pretty sure it says he's Al-Shaair. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not.
He was leaving after, and Jacksonville fans were pelting him. End up hitting they were trying to hit him, and they end up hitting the teammate walking with him.
With a helmet on, at least.
Pop.
We're great fans. I mean, they must be just dedicated to their team.
Dude, if someone did that to Nick Chubb, the people in Cleveland would throw anything at him.
They may be throwing people at him. So it will heavily, the dialogue will develop here, but Will's position heavily leans on this slow-mo. I mean, people are calling it such a gruesome play. Forearm thrown right for the head.
Dude,
slow-mo does it no justice.
Because in fast mode, he is a missile through him. Like he is flying. The slow-mo, he still looks fast in the slow-mo. That's how fast he was actually going.
I mean, you're right.
Just out of the boom. Like,
yeah. But again, the slow-mo says it all. Forearm. But okay, my dad's refutation back to it, because, we'll get to Joe Thomas, Cleveland legend, Hall of Famer, but where the people say this is one of the most gruesome plays.
No, it's not. It's a big hit, but it's not one of the gruesome plays.
But, my dad was going, it's a slide. Maybe it needs to be something different than a slide, because his head is going low, putting his head more into the frame of the hit.
The hip
so
area,
watch where his head's at now. It literally goes 2 feet below his waist. And first off, as a wrestler and as a football tackler, my grandpa always told me low man wins. That's just facts. Facts of 2 major contact sport. Low man wins. So what are you telling me? Quarterback's going down, and the defender has to shoot for going lower than that. And again, if the point leading into this is how fast the play happened, watch how far his head goes. That's a foot. That's a whole nother foot. You're looking at like 2 feet.
That really wasn't a great slide, too. At least in slow-mo, it doesn't look like a great slide.
I was going to say, it was such a lazy-looking slide. It was such a slide in the way that Trevor definitely did not expect him to hit him. He definitely he genuinely was like, he's seeing me go down. He's gonna go off to the side. No, right through your skull. But that's how lazy of a slide it was.
Well,
Genuinely,
I'm dying here because you're saying that like he expected to just get slammed like that.
No,
he's saying
I'm saying it like Trevor didn't. Like he was he started dropping his body like he's gonna see him going down.
We're good.
I'm accepting 4 yards or whatever. Boom! Like right through him.
You should always
that's
expect
the kind of slide
hit.
he kind of gave. Like it wasn't like he dropped quick. It was like, and we're down, like a plane, soft landing, twin tower, like boom, like right through him. Like that's how it looks when you go in the fast motion from the side angle. You see a slide. It's like it's kind of like, and like Trevor's a tall dude, so like it's not like a short quarterback going down. It's like watch, lazy, like literally it was the laziest slide in the second base he could ever ask for, and then kerpow.
It's like that kid. It's like Trevor never played like was it running bases as a kid where you got to slide to stay alive in that game. I mean, that looked like he had never slid before in his life.
That looked totally like Trevor Lawrence is like he's gonna see that I'm sliding and like just accept it.
Fourth. That's coming from 4th grade gym class sliding pro Doug Sluka.
You know what? He always went head first. I just like it's like it was almost like two opposing, like the impenetrable force meets the immovable object coming right at each other. And the immovable object definitely thought he was gonna just go around him.
Yeah,
like just go around him.
Instead, he went through him.
And then he went through him. He went through him, and God.
So let's kick off the dialogue because there's a divide, right? Some people are saying, Al-Shaair got a 3-game suspension. Is that enough? Some say it's too harsh. Some saying it's not harsh enough. And there's a bit of a dialogue around this because while you want to try to avoid gruesome plays like this that, bring about long-lasting effects that aren't worth entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's all I'm signing up for. You're worth millions of dollars. I don't get hit at my job in the office, but I have no planes. But let's keep that on balance with the NFL's $1 million man, their $300 million man. When we point out Patrick Mahomes, if you're going to let plays like this exist in the NFL, like if this is allowed, the fake slide. Okay, so that defender tags him because there's an instance where Patrick Mahomes, here we go, he's going to do a fake slide here so the defender stays up and then he doesn't go down. So thank goodness for the other player that followed up and gave Mahomes a little bit of a crack from the back. But right here, he fake slides. So what does this tell the defender? Because I'm going to be an internet sensation making me out to be a villain. I'm going to be suspended for 3 games. People are going to be calling for my head. Somebody's going to be throwing trash from the stands at me. Why? Because I thought the dude was going to go down, and he didn't go down, and now it's my fault, Patrick. Where does he go? 5 more yards?
And the funny part is, too, it's like I think a difference in this between like Trevor and Pat is I don't think Trevor is nimble enough to necessarily do a move. Like I could see Lamar doing that same move.
Speaking of Lamar, okay, I'm going to keep it that same train.
I'm just saying, like in terms of like I could see Josh doing that. I could see Kyler Murray
right,
being
and
able
Trevor's
to,
more like a Ben Roethlisberger.
Exactly.
You're not going to see him doing.
I'm not saying
fancy.
it's right. I'm just saying like I could see why Pat would try to exploit that rule because he's physically able to do that.
Oh yeah, no, and I agree. So keeping it on lane with somebody who is able to do that. If we're going to consider all the different dynamics of these plays and the players that can exploit them and those that can't, why can somebody like Lamar do this?
Watching Eagles versus Ravens, and I can't be the only person who noticed this or immediately thought this after this play happened. Lamar Jackson rolls out of the pocket, thinks he can jump over someone for the first down, but comes up short, doesn't get the first down. But then I was like, wait a minute, did he just make contact? Did he just kick him right in the head? And upon further replay, the answer is yes, he got him right in the
He took that out of Antonio Brown's playbook.
Brother. Ready? Watch this. Kukush.
But
that dude gets kicked right in the head.
But isn't that like a
Here it is. Yeah.
move?
Antonio Brown. Right out of his playbook. I forget who the punter was.
Did he get in trouble for that?
Yeah, he got
okay, so why isn't Lamar getting in trouble here?
Because I think AB's was a bit more
That was more of a
intentional.
smackdown, bro.
I don't
was
think Lamar meant to kick him in the head. I just meant he tried to hurt him.
So okay,
I
if
think
he's going,
AB definitely went to put his foot in his head.
at what extent can the defender come at Lamar, right? I really can't. Because I'm expecting you to maybe slide or go out of bounds, or if you're coming at me and then you're taking a forward hurdle type move, you're allowed to drop kick me in the head, but we're going to be worried about, to me, this is insane.
I got to say, though, watching this one again, not as bad as the one they showed against the Browns with Antonio Brown. Because look, like he's still
I don't think he was going for his head. AB's is like he's running straight at the punter.
No, I think he's trying to jump as high as he can.
He's trying to jump over him. He's trying to hurt him.
Well, guess what? Sure. Do you know where your head's located? The highest location on the defender across from you. So again, why am I allowed to go as high as I can where your head would be, but a defender can't go low at your hips or at your ankles or at your knees where I'm trained to tackle and where your head should not be, but then you're sliding down and your head comes in the zone where I'm supposed to tackle you.
I think that's why they call them bang bang plays. Like I'm sure Lamar thought the guy was going to go lower than he actually did.
I don't know. That's pretty high.
Well, yeah, but like it's different when it's like the AB one where it's like AB's going right at the guy.
Up next, where it is straight up a.
That's what I mean.
Like it is a drop kick. Spartan splat to the face.
This is Sparta.
Oh, is that the reference?
Yeah. Did you see that movie?
I felt it. Boom. Tell me you watch it, you don't feel it.
I'm sure the punter did.
Yeah, it's just a punter.
Yeah,
He's already going down.
That's the thing. Like if he was off to the side of him.
Poof, that's higher. This is low. This is.
Hey, going off your thing, the defender went low. You went for the hip.
That's a punter with
but that's the
technique.
thing. It's like I don't like everyone's saying like the Al Shire one's a dirty hit. It's like sure, I guess in like retrospect, but it's like I don't think he went in with the intent of it being a dirty hit.
That's
I think
what I mean.
You know, but it's just funny when you think of like I'm thinking of like I'm Trevor, and he definitely didn't think
That
he was gonna get
laid out.
That's the thing, and the defender is like, I gotta get him down. You know, like it's the complete opposite of like the AB. It's same with like the Lamar one. It's like Lamar's like, all right, jump over this guy, try to get an extra yard for the first. And this dude's like, I'm just trying to force him out of bounds. Lamar's thinking, he'll go low. The guy's like, no, I can't go low. Bang, bang plays. It just looks so bad when you do go low and you are a piss missile. And like I said, Trevor did the softest slide you could have asked for. It would have been like one of those. It's like, Trevor, you are almost better off in that situation diving forward. Because even if he dives in through you like that, he probably is only going to hit your hip or not your head or maybe shoulder. When you go like that, it's what they call it, right? Like a defenseless runner. When you do that, it's like, it's hard to be defenseless when the guy's right there.
Yep.
Right there going full speed. And boy, was he. Like, I don't necessarily agree with the 3 game. I would have gone 1, so I'll meet you in the middle at 2.
Yeah, sure.
Like I would have gone at 2, and don't do some ridiculous fine because you're going to do some ridiculous fine. And at the end of the day, that guy probably is not making nearly the amount of money that even Lawrence is making. He probably lost his game check doing that. He probably played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I always have an issue when it's like a big, unless it's like an agree. Like that kid in college just straight up punching the guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I would.
you know, that is like, okay, I could see why you get fined a lot of money. That was a football play. It's just an unfortunate football play. It's the way it goes. I don't think there was any malicious intent behind the hit.
But again, keeping it on track with considering the rule, like there is an issue when you are allowing quarterbacks into this compromised situation.
I would say it's definitely a gray area.
It's a gray area because you're calling them protected, but yet if, again, to the Patrick Mahomes play, if you don't stop him, he's going to run to the, like, this is crazy. To me, this is, if a play like this can exist, then we are at a point where you have to acknowledge you're opening the door to this.
Well,
so what would I like the rule to look like? And again, this is in a fantastical world where it isn't totally realistic, but it should be the line of scrimmage indicates when you become a runner, because
as a quarterback, as
a quarterback, just anybody, right? Like Jarvis Landry being a wide receiver who you could pitch a ball to and he could yeet the ball 40, 60 yards.
But here's the only contend I'll just have to like the line of scrimmage thing is the quarterback does have certain protections behind the line of scrimmage that like position players don't have, even if they get the ball.
Well, okay, so
double pass.
Keeping with this train of thought that I'm trying to express here, if you have what is the policy reason for why the quarterback, beyond all those other players, have an extra layer of protection? It is the consideration that they do not have the ability to watch out for their own safety. They have to look downfield. They're reading wide receivers. And the reason why the quarterback has had increasingly more protection is because the policy reason behind it, the consideration is that they have the most compromised position and the least ability to protect themselves. That all of that makes that the case totally goes away the second you cross the line of scrimmage.
Right.
The second you cross the line of scrimmage, you can't throw the ball. You're not reading the field. You just are going downfield, and you have to make sure that you're watching the defenders right in front of you. That's really all you can do. So I want to make it so that it's on the coaches, their game strategy, and the way they utilize their players. If Lamar Jackson can run downfield after being considered a running back in this world where you cross the line of scrimmage and you're as vulnerable as a running back, if you've got a guy that's as shifty and as fast as Lamar, then you know what? Hey, and he could take a hit occasionally. maybe you open it more up in your playbook. But it should be a consideration of the Chiefs where they sit back and they have their game strategy now is like, hey, our $300 million man, he runs, but he doesn't run like Lamar. And if he crosses that line of scrimmage and he gets cracked, well, then maybe our strategy does have to be a little bit more reserved because he doesn't have all of the referees downfield protecting him. So I just think so it's just one of those. I feel like if you are going to open the door to quarterbacks being able to play like Patrick Mahomes did, fake a slide and continue going, or kind of like Trevor, maybe extend your slide 1, 2, 3 steps too many.
Well, I was actually thinking about it because going off, I agree with everything you said. And here is the one rule I would throw. Because again, why do guys slide? It makes them a defenseless runner. That's the ruling for it. And only quarterbacks get that rule, as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen I would think it's just them. You get a 3 or 2 yard diameter around where you're running to where if a defender is within that and you slide, it's a legal hit. Meaning it's illegal. Because I agree that once you pass the line of scrimmage, you should be a legal runner. But if they're with outside like a 2 or 3 yard diameter around you and you do a legal slide, you're down. Like right where you are.
Well, no, at that point,
because I'm saying going off the Al-Shaair thing, if that's my ruling, because again, I don't know how he avoids the tackle. Actually going through with the tackle. That's what I mean. I don't know how he goes through.
Here, let's look at it one last time. I mean, you don't. He's already going down and he's already getting laid out.
Exactly. Like you are already that is a hard one.
I think the only way about this is you punish Al-Shaair and you move on because this is an inevitable symptom of a contact sport at the highest level where that man is trained to do only one thing, and it's rip his head off.
Mm-hmm.
And he succeeded. It's like the dog got the bone and you're going to get mad at the dog. You train the dog to do it.
What was that chopper sick balls? That's the whole defense like that. And that's why I'd say once you're past the line of scrimmage like that, there's two flags. You can't do fake slides.
Right.
Fake slides is one. If you I remember Kenny Pickett in college did a fake slide and turned into a 70-yard touchdown run, a huge game. And again, that's college, but still he went to do the same. He took advantage of the rule. And then 2, I would do that 2 or 3 yard diameter around you. And again, if you're sliding and a guy's coming up from behind you, it doesn't mean as much. It's mainly for those guys coming at you from these angles, right? Just like the play with Trevor Lawrence. If they're within the 2-3 yard diameter and do a legal tackle on you, I don't necessarily think his was legal because I think he led with his head. Now, funny enough, I guess you could argue targeting, bring maybe that rule back. Maybe that should be the rule instead. But
I can appreciate the spirit of that element.
Because I don't know, because here's the thing. I don't know how you get rid of the slide.
I will satisfy your point. So I can appreciate the goal of that element, but it isn't measurable. It isn't practical. How do you, beyond AI, digitally putting on this perimeter and Gene Steratore in New York telling us, oh, no, he was within the circle. I think the better way is, watch this one more time, Will. When this dude goes on, ready? Watch. He's down. Fuck.
What do you mean he's down?
Watch Trevor one last time.
He's down. No, I agree.
Down.
I agree. Yeah.
Why? I don't know why it's doing that, but he's down.
Yeah.
So already, so the rule doesn't have to be this diameter measuring any of it. It's if you're going to slide, if you're going to put yourself in a position, boy, you better slide before you're compromised. But the rule is, and the rule should be, you can't hit a downed man. And that rule should be even more sensitive for a quarterback. So right now, this is a penalty play.
No, I agree. I agree.
The second but that's what I mean is the slide. You don't have to do any measurement. It's the second he's down, hip is down, knee is down. Anything that goes beyond this point is their fault. And so Al-Shaair put himself in a position where he couldn't stop himself when it became too late. That's on him. Mm-hmm. But the rule shouldn't, I'm saying you're right. You're totally right. No, just don't overcomplicate the rule by making it anything beyond the second he's down, rules enforced, period. He's down. And look it, you're still within that 2-3 feet you're even talking about.
I'm just saying, if I'm Alshon here and you're already like, again, when Trevor got down, look at how close he is. How do you avoid the hit then?
You don't.
And that's the unfortunate thing. And I'm not saying.
So wait, are you saying if he's within that, it's too bad? Like, hey,
essentially, yeah. Because
like, okay, and then I get what you're saying. I thought you were saying like if. Okay, now I get what you're saying.
Mine is if they're already in that 2 or 3 yard diameter, however long they want to make
really
it, like right
body
there.
Length, right?
Exactly, like body length. Because it's like if I'm Al-Shaair and you're already like that, going as fast as he was, how do you avoid just hitting him? Just not saying hit him as hard as you
There's
can.
no
but
way
avoid,
you avoid it.
But avoid just a hit.
Yeah, dude, he was already in it, right? Like,
exactly.
What? He's not down. He's not down. He's not down. Now he's down. Al-Shaair is already halfway through his progression.
You know, and especially Trevor is so tall that his body is still that high above the ground. How does he know he's exactly down as a defender? Like you're going into him. You're not looking at the knee. You're looking at the guy.
Yes.
You're looking, that's the only thing I could say that maybe they could do. But again, like you said, then it's how do you implement it? The practicality of that ruling, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's an unfortunate reality of the game. It's an unfortunate thing you can't avoid.
That we all sign up for.
I don't know how you fix it. Here's the one penalty I do want to add is just can't fake slide. Can't fake slide. Because like in that moment, say he did fake slide. One, then people are looking at Al-Shaair like, wow, way to whiff a tackle.
Yes.
So like there's no winning there.
Again, back to this. Do you know how many comments on Twitter were going after this guy? He's and again, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Exactly.
They're like, this is a shitty defender. But he got like Patrick Mahomes is taking advantage of a rule. He fakes slides. So the defender screwed if he hit him, and he's screwed if
I want to say like he was planning his foot to do a cut, but he took like 3 little steps. Like you were thinking he was going down. And that's the tough part for these defenders when it's a quarterback. And like these quarterbacks, they're all smart.
And the quarterbacks know that, right?
They know how to circumvent rules. All these guys do. Like all these individuals know how to.
Figure out what you're doing, Doug. There you go.
Oh, hey, Doug. So it's an unfortunate incident in the league. It turning out into a fight again. It goes back to like the Michigan Ohio State thing. I get why they fought.
Yep.
Don't do it over Trevor. I wish Trevor a speedy recovery because it looked rough. His body did the full knocked
cut your
out.
hair so they
Yeah,
can
I
have
was
access
going to
to
say,
it.
You know what?
Want him to
This
cut his
week
hair?
I'll give him a pass. I'll give him a pass because fuck, that looked bad. Man. That looked bad. That reminded me so much of like the Colt McCoy, Vontaze Burfict. Just
Oh man,
that one
was
you watch
brutal.
and just you as just an empathetic human. You're just like, just be okay. Just it's all right, man. You know what? Braid your hair next time. Maybe. I don't care. Because the unfortunate thing with Trevor is like your season's over. Their season, like they weren't going to go anywhere, but it's like it's injury wise,
It's over.
be in no rush to bring him back.
Right.
It's just for Al-Shaair. I hope it didn't take too much into your paycheck. I think his behavior on social media was a bit goofy afterwards, but like it's a bit.
But all these people are reckless.
I'm the villain of the
goofs.
league, dude. You knocked him the fuck out, and that was an illegal hit, man. I don't know what you want from us.
Well, I'm going to wrap the thought up with Joe Thomas, our Cleveland legend and Hall of Famer.
Up there with Joe Flacco.
That's right. This hit was malicious and has no place in our game, but the NFL needs to get the weaponized quarterback slide out of the game. As dangerous as hits on quarterbacks are, when the quarterback chooses to slide, we need to stop allowing quarterbacks to fake slide or late slide in order to gain yardage and confuse the defenders on if the quarterback is sliding or not. It would go a long way towards taking those terrible hits out of the game and making things more safe for the quarterback and for the defender. A late slide, fake slide, or acting like you're going to go out of bounds and then skirting forward for a few more yards. These all need to be 15-yard penalties against the offense. And it's about time the NFL referees started marking the ball down immediately when the quarterback starts the slide, which is the rule, by the way.
Yeah, that's the rule.
If this happens, the big hits on quarterbacks when they're sliding will be completely eliminated from the game. So that's what Joe Thomas wants. And
I won't say they'd be completely eliminated. Guys are still going to go in for a hit, but like I agree with every sentiment he said.
Right.
Because again, it's like in that sense, it's like, yeah, he went down for the slide, couldn't avoid that hit. Like, you're not. But I'm with him going like, hey, it should be right at the start of the slide.
Right. So
he said it perfectly. He said it perfectly right there.
Yeah,
Our hero, Joe Thomas, just summed it up perfectly.
There you go. So let's get into, before we get into our parlay picks of the week, because I think this one's going to get us a win. None of us have to drink an ice this week. If we lose our parlay pick, the loser's got to drink an ice. So we're coming to you victorious. So you might want to jump on the bandwagon as we keep the momentum rolling. But before we get into that, let's review going into week 14 here. So, the Packers game, if you missed it, I feel bad for you because it was a great one.
The Lions franchise record, 11 wins in a row.
That's impressive. And you know what? They're a dominant franchise. They've been dominating for the last few years, and I hope they get to break this curse and bring one home.
They must have good management. I wonder who they hired.
It couldn't have been our guy.
Couldn't have been.
Oh, shucks. So cheers to the Packers. You really hung in there. And, just the way the circumstances of the game fell out, but it was a great game for all that watched. Now, starting off with the 1:00 games. Wow, what a stinker. Jets and Dolphins. The Dolphins should win, but holy cow, I don't know what to make of the Dolphins anymore. It's so hit or miss.
Dude, I'm just rooting against Rodgers every week now.
Yeah, it's gotten to
Dolphins.
that.
Like,
How sad is
it's
that?
just sort of turned into that. Like,
He's one of them.
Miami. Go Miami.
Falcons, Vikings. I
think this is the week the Vikings lose. I think the Vikings lose
Really?
this week. Yeah, I do.
If a team would do it, it would be the Falcons. So
It depends on what Kirk Cousins shows up. If it's
which
4
version?
interception Kirk Cousins from last week. No, but I think he's going to have a bounce back week. I think it's going to be a tighter game. Vikings have been skirting by a couple wins, but they keep winning. They keep winning.
Saints, Giants. Talk about a stinker, but sometimes 2 losers makes a good game.
I'm going with Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, he needs to redeem himself.
God, these first few games suck.
They're so bad. Even the next one's a stinker. Panthers and Eagles. But you know what? The Panthers had impressed me the last 2-3 weeks.
Shit, they almost beat Tampa last week.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They've showed up with some pretty good games. So I think the Eagles, this has been a dominant team that is barely winning. So I think the Panthers can give them a run for their money, but the Eagles are definitely the better team. Speaking of the Browns, woof, woof, big woof.
You know what?
I am a better player, but in times like this, it's an opportunity to continue to glorify the Lord even through the toughest circumstances. I know I'm better than this. I know I'm just praying for the Lord to deliver me from pick sixes. Like that's not me. Like a phenomenal game, offense, do some great things, but I messed it up.
My favorite line is, I just hope the Lord delivers me from pick sixes. And here's Doug. His parlay pick this week is at least 1 interception.
He is the most serious man I think we've ever had in this organization.
Yes.
And that's kind of the attitude we need, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. So let's get into the game. I think the Browns are going to show up, but man, Heinz Field, talk about an uphill battle. Card stack against them. Steelers are the better team. If I was a betting man, I'd go for the Steelers, but don't be surprised
I'm curious
if the
what the
Browns show
spread
up.
of that game is.
Yeah, I would be. I got to tell you,
curious.
what's great about these interconference rivalries, even just everybody in our conference, no matter how much more dominant the other team is, boy, do we seem to compete well.
I was going to say I'd almost always go against like the plus spread, whatever it is. I'd almost always want to pick that.
Yeah, that's the fun of these games. So.
I'm going Cleveland. Let's go for a sweep. This would be.
I'm going with the Steelers just because when we did that all last time, they got walloped. So I'm not.
You know what? You're right. I'm going with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's the Steelers. Looking at the Raiders and the Buccaneers, Buccaneers are going to roll them.
Tampa had a rough week last week, even though they got the win. I'm
And they
taking
look
Tampa.
strong. Yeah, I'm going with Tampa. Jags, Tennessee Titans.
Who's even the quarterback for the Jags now with Trevor out?
Ooh, who knows?
I mean, it doesn't matter. This game sucks anyways. But you know what? The Jags are going to come out and win that for Trevor.
Hey, look at you. I like the spirit. I'm going with the Titans. Seahawks, Cardinals. two birds. Seahawks are the better team. Cardinals have shown you can't just ignore them. Their offense is looking really strong, but the Seahawks have shown that they are the dark horse. So I'm going with
Seattle. I just think Seattle will win.
Bills, Rams. Boy, Bills are the stronger team. They better dominate.
Bills and the Eagles are my actually, no, I'm gonna go line. My top 3 teams are Lions, Bills, Eagles, so I'm gonna go Bills.
Lions, okay, I can feel that. Bears, 49ers better win, but we're talking about 2 500 teams.
I have no idea what to make of either of these two teams.
Yeah, they don't know what to make of themselves either, actually.
No, I think Chicago does. I think Chicago knows they're a dumpster fire. I'll go with San Francisco.
I hope they do.
I'll go with San Francisco.
Chargers, Chiefs. It's the Chiefs.
I'm going with the Queefs. Queefs at Arrowhead.
Easy
man.
one. And then finally, the Monday Night Football game, the Bungholes and the Cowboys.
Dude, oh my God, it's fucking Dallas on prime time again. Go Cincy.
That's
Go
what I'm saying.
Cincy, dude.
Is that really
The Bengals a
surprising?
break.
God, dude,
Are you
I'm
guys really surprised by the fact that the Cowboys are on another primetime game? I mean, they
but
are
it's-
America's team after all.
No, but it's so often, dude.
And it's
It
so
is
overplayed.
It was.
And
They
they're
were on it
crap.
last week.
They're
They were
crap.
on freaking Thanksgiving. Like, again, then they go from Thanksgiving beating up on New York. Congratulations, Jerry. To then playing Cincinnati at home again on Monday night. It is so old. Please, Cincy.
Yeah.
Please beat
and
them.
Cincinnati's owed one. So wrapping up the episode, looking at our parlay picks. Last week, we brought home a winner, so you should be playing along with us. We got a victory with what I did. Burrow. I did Joe Burrow.
I did the Chargers -1, and boy, I
that
was
the-
stressed.
That was the toughest
I
one.
was
That one almost
stressed.
didn't win.
I was on the treadmill watching, like, please, Kirk, throw another pick.
Doug coasted with Patrick Mahomes.
Doug did.
So this is
Doug
the
did.
big one. I think you guys should dive in with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. This week's pick of the week. Let me get it up here. This week we're doubling it up again. We're putting $10 on instead of 5. You know, big high roller. I love James Cook. That's a strong one. James Cook is going to be dominating in the rushing yards, especially against the Rams. Doug and I are getting excited for the Steelers game. If you can't see that, I have more than enough confidence in Jameis. And
I think you both do. I think you both
well,
have.
Doug doesn't have confidence in the Lord delivering Jameis, and it totally anticipates him hitting at least one interception. What's funny is he had 4 in the last game, but he had like the 3 games prior, a whole bunch that were dropped. So hopefully just the Steelers secure at least one of them.
And the instant he hits 250 passing yards in that game and no interception, I will be praying for an interception.
It's going to happen. So that being said, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope we helped you get to tinker with your team and enjoy this Sunday coming up. We got a lot of great games. So be sure to join us this Sunday again with the Reactions channel. But otherwise, enjoy a long, fun day of football. You can find all of our content in one central place, and that's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. But otherwise, guys, we'll catch you next week.